Welcome to my weekly live cast. This is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games. As usual, I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit there. And I'm a little off center today because in a few minutes, I have two special guests that are going to join me for this special Thanksgiving live cast because my parents are visiting me. And so for the first time, I'm going to appear on camera for this with a few other people, and you can ask my parents anything you want, and I will share those questions with them. If you're in the U.S., I hope you are having a good Thanksgiving week, a good safe Thanksgiving week. Things have been somewhat quiet on the Stonemeyer Games front over the last few days, mostly working on just tidying up a few odds and ends. I wrote a blog post the other day about a customer service thing that one of my insurance agent actually did for me years ago. And my Sunday sit down video this past week. What was my Sunday sit down video? Oh, it was about my top 12 favorite game mechanisms ever and my favorite game in each of those categories. So you can check those out if you want. But for now, and today's will be probably be a little shorter live cast, I think, because I do have my parents in town. But I wanted to invite them on camera for a second. So mom and dad, you guys can come on over and put your phone away. So this is my mom and this is my dad.
Right.
And people are watching us right now. And so, if you have any questions for my parents, you're happy to welcome to ask. And as usual, you can ask me anything you'd like. Um, let's see. Tim says, "Where's the chair?" So normally behind me, where my dad is right now, is a oddly positioned chair that sits near the window, and that is where Biddy usually sits. But my mom is allergic to cats, and so we have taken my office and turned it into a temporary bedroom for my parents where the cats aren't allowed. Although Biddy was on the bed a little bit earlier. Let's see if they have any questions for my parents so far. So people are saying hi to you. Um, there's a question for me here. Jockton says, "What is your favorite character from the Stormlight archives?" I like Kaladin. This is a novel series that I'm reading that I've talked about a little bit. I'm a big fan of Kaladin in that series. A lot of people are saying hello to you.
Hello.
Anson asked opinions on Flyaway. I'm not familiar with what Flyaway is, Anson, but feel free to let me know in the comments. Here's David with a question for my parents. David says, "Do you play board games with Jamey?" And a little context here before I let them answer here. My parents are from or live in Virginia. I live in St. Louis, so they have driven 12, 13 hours to get here. So we don't actually get to see each other very often. And one of the reasons this is so meaningful to me is that I haven't been able to see them since last August. So 15 months or so. So it's been a long, long time since I've gotten to see them. So how do you guys want to answer that? Do you play board games with Jamey? You can get a little closer to the mic, Dad.
Go ahead, Margaret.
Yeah, we play board games every time we see Jamey, all the time, every moment. And he's very good at.
Shake the mic.
Yeah. He's very good at tailoring the games to our interest and our abilities.
Yeah, I try to choose games that I think that they would like they do know some more complicated games, but if they're not in the mood to learn something complicated and heavy, then I teach them something lighter.
Yeah, Jamey will introduce us to all kinds of little games, but simple things like patchwork. But also, we do play viticulture. We play My Little Scythe.
That's right.
Yes, and
yeah.
we play Wingspan a fair amount too.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just doing my video the other day that you won't see for a while, but on my favorite mechanism in the new expansion, the Wingspan Oceania expansion, and I got really excited to play it. So I'm hoping that we play the new Australia, New Zealand expansion while you guys are here. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I think many of you are receiving it right now. We're still shipping it out. We have maybe another 500, 600 copies to ship out, but we're getting close to completing the pre-orders there. All right, let's see. Alexa says, "What are your mom and dad's favorite games to play?" Let's say non-Stonemeyer games. What's your favorite non-Stonemeyer game that you enjoy? I taught you the Mind. You like the Mind, don't you?
We like the Mind.
Just one, maybe?
But see, right now we're teaching your nieces and nephews to play games.
Yeah.
And so Quirkle is a game that we play with them, and their dad plays games with them all the time now. They love even more complicated games, but
Well, what's the train game?
Oh,
Ticket to
Ticket to
Ride.
Ride. That's
right?
probably.
We play Ticket to Ride.
I think that's
like
that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite games to play with them and with other people.
Yeah.
It,
And they have a few cooperative games too. I think I've played Flashpoint Fire Rescue with them before.
Yeah, the kids are
Yeah.
really into Flashpoint now.
They like that. They still like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
My nieces and nephew, what are their ages for context here?
7 and 5.
7, 5, and there's one more.
Well, 2.
2, yeah, 7, 5, and 2. Is it
The
Aaron?
two's not quite there
Is
yet.
that there? Yeah. Is he playing Animal Upon Animal?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay.
Not yet.
That was the first game I bought for my nieces and
Yes.
nephews because that's kind of fun for everyone.
And I will still pull that out with Anna
Yeah.
and James. We'll pull out Animal to Animal. We'll pull out, what?
What's the
Sorry.
Blockus? Or?
We're trying to get them into Blockus.
Blockus,
Blockus,
yes.
yeah, I love
They're
But
more
I-
into making designs than playing the game.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah,
Blockus,
Blockus
yeah.
is the last game we played with anybody.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let's see.
And somebody said we raised a good kid.
There is a
And
good
I would
guy.
agree. He has exceeded our expectations.
I'm not sure how much credit we get.
No.
So a lot of people are asking, do my parents play games? And so we're kind of talking about that right now. Cynthia runs a good partner of ours, Meeple Source. She says you raised a good one. Thank you,
Oh,
Cynthia.
I like Justin's comment.
Justin said, well, let's get to Justin in a second. Let's say Ryan says, what are you guys eating? So my mom planned a few special meals. My mom's a really good
Oh.
cook. My dad is too. And they planned a few special meals for Thanksgiving. So we're doing crab cakes, Chesapeake
Bay crabs.
Yeah, doing crab cakes. So that's an exception from my vegetarianism because it's really good. And what else did you plan?
I have a rice pilaf with cranberries and pumpkin seeds.
Nice. So those are the two things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So that'll be a really delicious Thanksgiving.
And cookies.
And
We
cookies.
bake them.
Yeah, we're gonna make some cookies. Gonzalo Gonzalo runs a wonderful company called Thundergriff Games, and he asked, "Do my parents play board games?" We'll probably come back to that as we think of more games that my parents like. Justin says, "Did Jamey have an extremely good work ethic when it came to chores? He seems like he's super on top of his work. Was that true in his house while growing up?" That's a good question for you.
Yeah, I would say that's true, and he was always very neat. I remember,
tidy.
yeah, very
Organized,
tidy.
organized.
I remember one time opening his drawers and seeing the socks. I mean, it looked like a Marie Kondo show. The way his drawers were organized. But yeah, I think he's always had a very good work ethic. And the other thing is he puts a lot of time in on his own. So he was never afraid to like just take a couple of baseballs, and when he was like 4 years old, take the baseball tee and a couple of baseballs and go out in the backyard, hit the baseballs, go get them, bring them back, put them back on the tee again, hit them again, and just keep doing that over and over again. And what was a little bit unusual was he was willing to work on things like that on his own, even though like I love to work with him and play games with him, and did when I was around, but he also didn't hesitate to really work on his own a lot.
I would say, like any other kid, though, I had chores that I enjoyed and some chores that I didn't enjoy. But I think I have a brother and sister, and so as we got older and everyone could do chores, we kind of divided up which ones
Yeah,
we
it was
wanted.
really never an issue.
Yeah.
There's also, I think, like if you live in the suburbs and you have a lawnmower, there's a phase in every kid's life where they want to push the lawnmower.
Or ride the lawnmower when you ride the lawnmower. Yeah.
Yeah, and then things change, and it's like I'm not interested in cutting the grass anymore.
Right.
Now, but I will say that you were not interested in learning to drive a car.
That's true. Yeah. I think a lot of kids are eager to get in the car. In Virginia, you can get your learner's permit, I believe, at 15.
At
or
that time, it's
back in
changed
the
now.
day. And I was like, why would I want to drive when I could have someone else chauffeur me around? Why would I learn to do this? And so I didn't get my license until I was almost 17, I
Yeah,
think.
I
My
had-
sister, who's younger than me, got her license before I did. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. But he's cautious.
Yeah. Jazz is a great podcaster on YouTube with the Lobby of Hobbies, or the Hobby of Lobbies. And Jazz says, of all of Jamey's game designs, which is your favorite? So which have you played? You haven't played Scythe. You definitely played Viticulture. You played Between Two Cities. Or actually, that isn't my design though. So Charterstone you haven't played. Euphoria. I think you've just played Viticulture of my designs. What am I missing here? Charterstone. Tapestry. You haven't played that. I think you've just played Viticulture.
Yeah, because the other ones
Because
are,
our pictures are in it.
Oh, yeah. In Viticulture, if you look at Mama Margot and Papa Jay, these
Here
are
we
my
are.
real mama and papa.
yeah, so you played a lot of your games, but not always your designs.
Right. Yeah. Julie says to your parents, when did you realize Jamie might be a game designer?
Oh my goodness. Very, very early on. Very early on. I can remember, I can't tell you exactly what grade, but somewhere early in elementary school, Jamie went through this thing where the teacher would say, okay, let's do this project on what today you would call indigenous peoples, but in those days it was Native Americans. And Jamie would put the project in the form of a board game or something like that. So he was into it early on. And can I tell him the story about your pursuit of the career in middle school and high school?
The letter you wrote to
Oh, sure.
some other
Yeah,
So
game
a few
company?
years ago, we were downsizing when I retired, and found this box of papers up in the attic, and opened it up, and buried in that box were the letters that Jamie had sent to Milton Bradley and
Parker Brothers.
and a couple of other companies, asking them, telling them that he had some ideas for some board games, and asking them if they might be interested. And he got back from a couple of them these very curt, sorry, we don't hire outside designers. And I'm like, okay, now things are different. I would frame those letters and put them on the wall. But
And there was, I posted a blog entry with one of these because I think you guys, when you found those, I scanned one of them and posted it. And one of the replies I think was actually quite nice, especially considering that one of the things I talk about quite a bit now is that ideas aren't really worth anything. Everybody has tons of ideas. It's execution that matters. So they were getting letters from someone saying, I have this thing that is not worth anything. And one company did actually reply very nicely.
Oh, they did.
And very, which surprises me because I thought that was really nice. But yeah, I'm glad you found that. I'll try to find the blog entry. I don't remember the blog entry, but maybe if you search the Stonemeyer Games blog for Milton Bradley, it might show up, or Parker Brothers, you might see it. Maybe someone in the comments can find that. Sometimes people are really good at finding these links in the comments. Skylar says, what's your favorite Stonemeyer game? So you guys have mentioned that you play Between Two Cities, My Little Scythe, Viticulture, and Wingspan. Yeah.
I still like viticulture.
Yeah.
But
I think I like Wingspan now.
I have to say that in order to learn Jamie's games for me, I have to play them every day for about a week.
To kind of ingrain it
And
in.
to ingrain it so that I can better make my own decisions and not keep saying, well, what do I need to do next? Or what are my options here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll let this come up organically unless you have this on the spot. But Carol said, can you tell us a humorous story about Jamie? Probably Jamie as a kid. You can think about that for a second if you want as we get to other... It might just come up in the... Feel free to think about that for a second. Here's Mahir. Mahir says, question for your parents, Jamie. How naughty or stubborn was Jamie as a kid?
Not.
Oh.
Like
Yes.
any kid.
No.
I had naughty,
No.
stubborn moments.
His only thing, I think, was he had a way of tweaking his little brother sometimes.
Yeah, I was good at. I have a brother who's 5 years younger than me, and so we pulled little pranks on each other. And so I would jump out and scare him sometimes. Sometimes on road trips, I would get him to walk into the women's bathroom. I would kind of distract him and let him walk in, and then me step out.
But that your brother was really easy to distract.
He was very gullible. Yeah, very smart, but very gullible.
And Jamie did that bathroom thing multiple times. Yeah, it took. Yeah.
Yeah, juvenile Jamie.
And that's a funny story.
That is
when Andrew would come screaming out of the ladies' room.
He did it again.
I think one time Emily saw him, my sister saw, and she said, "Andrew, what are you doing in here?" And he said, "What are you doing in here?" Not realizing that she was in the right place. Kristen also said, "What is their favorite game of all time?" A lot of people are asking that. It's tough to answer on the spot because I don't think my parents thought about what their favorite game is of all time. What did we play when we were young? Let's talk about that because we played. My parents. I was very lucky that my parents exposed me to real good hobby games when I was young, like Millborn.
Labyrinth
Yeah,
is probably
Labyrinth
one of
is a
your
good
favorite
one.
ones
Yeah.
when you were younger.
Millborn, which I think is still published today. Remember we used to play
I think it is,
Millborn?
yeah.
Wasn't there Rivers, Roads, and Rails?
Rivers, Roads, yeah. It's
Well,
like-
First to Reverse is the one that I remember. Maybe
First
that's the
to
same
Reverse.
thing. Yeah.
No, that's a
No.
different one. First
different,
Reverse,
okay.
yeah.
Scotland Yard.
And then you went into Scotland Yards, which we sort of bypassed the whole clue concept and went to Scotland Yards
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
Was Labyrinth, was
Yeah.
that the pipe game?
No,
It's where you
Labyrinth is
push the
a set
tile
board,
in.
push the
Oh,
tile,
yeah,
which
yeah.
started, it was
What's the one where the pipes connect?
Pipe Works.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it's like little tiles of pipes and waterworks.
Waterworks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. I haven't played that in a long time.
He has to come back to Richmond to play it.
Yeah, you still have it?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay. Sean says, what is the best embarrassing story your parents can share about your childhood? That's another one that kind of puts you on the spot.
Well,
you can think about that for a second. If you need to.
I got one. Maybe when we let you pack, I don't know, you were packing your own suitcase for a trip. Or a camping trip. It was a camping
Okay.
trip. And I gave you the list of things, and you must have been 8 or 9 years old, and you get to where we're going. And the next morning you wake up and you look for your underwear, and there is not one thing in the suitcase. You have never, ever. And that's why you now make really good lists.
I do have a lot of checklists, so I don't forget that.
You learned.
That's good. I don't think I've heard that before. Chris says, what vegetarian dishes are you having for Thanksgiving? So one, we mentioned this earlier, one, we're breaking the rule a little bit because my mom brought some really good crab from Virginia. So we're going to have some crab cakes and crab soup. Are you making soup?
Maybe
too?
some crab bisque.
Yeah, crab bisque. But we're also having, what was the other dish that you're
The
making?
rice pilaf.
Rice pilaf,
And we'll
yeah.
stuff it in, if we get acorn squash, we can stuff it in that.
Mm, nice, nice.
I'm hoping Jamie will cook for me for Thanksgiving. He's yet to come up with
Yeah,
what
haven't-
he's cooking for me.
Yeah, I'll cook something for you. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough when they come to town because I want to share so many different restaurants with them in St. Louis because I can cook for you wherever. But yeah, I'll cook something for them. George says, did Jamie show you a Stonemeyer Games prototype and have you played it together when it was still in an initial phase? So
With
a
viticulture?
I
pre-published-
think we might
Vitic-
have it with viticulture.
You might have played
I
viticulture?
think you brought viticulture before it was published
Okay. Yeah.
to family Christmas.
Okay. Yeah. Jim said, Jim doesn't have, I usually scroll through and look for questions. But Jim says, glad to hear you enjoy playing games with Jamie and learning new things. I'm still working on getting my parents to enjoy anything complicated.
Well, yeah, the secret there is play it often.
Play it
Play it
repeatedly. Yeah.
repeatedly. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So that means in order to do that, you need to be with the parents for about a week.
To
So you have
Yeah.
to visit, right?
when COVID is over. Yeah.
That's where the beach vacation came in.
Right.
That's when I
Right.
think I solidified, or Christmas holiday.
Yeah, we have a big family. We have two kind of big family gatherings on my mom's side, and one annual family gathering on my dad's side. And one of the ones on my mom's side is a big. We go to the beach, the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and we hang out there for a week. And maybe 8 years ago, probably around the time I started Stonemeyer Games, I started bringing a bunch of board games to this event so that we'd have something fun to do in the evening. And so, oftentimes I'll bring a bunch of games and play them, and whoever likes the games the most, I'll send them home with that game. That's one of the ways the games leave my collection sometimes, even if I love those games. Chris says, what are you most thankful for this year? What are your parents thankful for? Well, I'm really thankful that my parents are here. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been able to see them since August of 2019. So I'm really grateful that they made the 12-hour drive from Virginia to come see Megan and I here. That is really special for me.
And COVID has provided us opportunities to, because we hunker down and are safe, we've been able to come and see you. You're safe, we're safe, and then and we're having a nice visit here. And then COVID allowed us to visit with our youngest son for 4 months. Because of COVID, he got stranded with us on a visit and couldn't get back to his hometown. So that was a curse, but a blessing.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. No, I think that's because we live close to our daughter and we have this neat little pod there. We get to see 3 grandkids. And you really do feel the blessing when you talk to other people in our generation who are totally isolated from their families because their situations just are different. They're more at risk, or their kids and grandkids are in more risky situations, and they don't, or they're more distant, and so they just can't get together, and they really are isolated. And I can just imagine how hard that is to be that isolated, and we haven't had to face that.
No.
So you do feel blessed.
Yeah.
And I'm really blessed that Jamie calls us FaceTime now since COVID started. I don't know if you have realized that, but now we get almost weekly phone calls, if not just 3 times a month, which is amazingly wonderful.
Well, and that's something I've kind of committed to doing since in college. I kind of wrote a weekly email to my parents, and then after college, at a certain point, I switched to calling. But we have switched to FaceTime more recently, so I can actually see them and see my nieces and nephews when they're around. So that's nice.
Oh, he's a great uncle. He talks to his nieces and nephews frequently. They know him by face. They ask about the cats. They ask about Megan. They're very they're connected to Jamey. They don't feel at all apart from you, even though the distance is far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
FaceTime does help with that. So Sam asked if you all have played cooperative games. He mentions Pandemic Legacy, Basic Pandemic. I don't know if you've played Pandemic.
Yeah, so Flashpoint,
You have.
Flashpoint
we
Finals.
have played. So, our daughter's husband, our son-in-law, prior to COVID, had started a game night. So he's pretty interested in games. So we played Pandemic, Flashpoint, and what's the? It's sort of a co-op. It's not really a cooperative. It's competition, but it's team-based. The submarine.
Submarine.
Yeah, you have. It's kind of like a submarine warfare
Captain
game.
Sonar. Captain
Yeah,
Sonar.
Captain
Yeah,
Sonar.
yeah. Yeah, you are working together with other people as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barry says, so great to meet your parents. What indications did they see when you were a kid about that game, when you were a kid that gave them any indication about your potential as a future game designer?
All your work.
Yeah, my dad talked about this a little bit earlier, how I would often use games as a way to, for a school project. And my first game that I recall was Medieval Quest, which
Was
I
that the
think
big
was,
box you had?
uh,
Was that the second?
that was in high school. That was,
Oh.
yeah. Medieval Quest was just a single board.
It was a single board, but you had a mountain that was 3D. You could pull it up, and then you could store it flat.
That was the high school one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a high school one
Yeah.
too.
Let's see. Tom says, my parents were a huge reason that I got into tabletop games, card games, etc. Were there a lot of games played in the Stonemeyer house? And I would say, yeah, we weren't really a TV household.
We would do games.
We ate dinner together at the table, and then we played a lot. I think we played a lot of games. I'm very lucky that we played. So
Yeah,
many
not
games.
tons, but I think you and your friend Trevor
Yeah.
and your
Yeah.
sister and Katie played tons of games together.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we did play. We played a lot of games with them.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely remember playing Millborn, Nine Men's Morris. I think I played chess with Dad when I was learning chess. And Scotland Yard Labyrinth, these other games that we
Mm-hmm.
mentioned. And simple games like Sorry and
Trouble.
Trouble. Yeah.
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 Shoots
Yeah, we
and
had a whole game
Ladders,
shelf.
First Reverse, all of those.
Right. Carlos says, I'm going to play Charterstone with my family. Have you played that with your parents? No, we don't. We haven't played any. I don't think you guys have played. Have you played any games where you, in one session of the game, the decisions you make impact the next session? Played any games like that? I don't think. Yeah,
No, no.
yeah.
Not yet.
We'll have to try that
We
sometime.
have the a goal to set.
Yeah. Joshua says, how did Jamey first tell you that he was going full time in the game industry? I remember this conversation well. What were your first reactions?
You tell this story, and we'll tell you if you're wrong.
Well, I say what I recall saying to them, and they can recall their response if they want. But I called them up. They knew that I basically ran a viticulture campaign, Kickstarter campaign, and then I ran the campaign for Euphoria, which raised a lot of money, $300,000. So I went slightly part time at that point. Didn't have any conversation with you at that point. But then in November of that year, November, December, I realized that I had saved up enough money through the company and that everything was going well with Euphoria that I could survive for a year trying to just run Stonemeyer Games full time. And so I called my parents. I said, I'm thinking about doing this, and I want to let you know, and this is how I remember it. I want to let you know that this is a choice that I'm making. I want your feedback, but I also don't. What did I say? I don't want you to bail me out if this fails. I don't, because my parents have been very supportive over the years of many different things that I've tried and done. But I was said this decision is very important to me that I don't have you as a backup. I need to only rely on myself to do this. And as I recall, you were very supportive of that approach and that decision. Do you remember anything different about that conversation?
We're really nervous about insurance.
Insurance,
Health insurance.
yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that piece. I remember two conversations. The first one, you went part-time.
Yeah.
And that was when that's when I think when we had the conversation about
The health
You know,
insurance.
make sure, watch out for your things like your health insurance.
Oh, okay. I don't
And
know
then
that.
the piece I remember about after the couple of successful campaigns when you decided you were going full time, what I remember was I was pretty excited about it and proud of you, but there was also, I don't know if you remember this, but what I remember saying is, you'll never have a better time than right now to do this. You
Oh,
don't
financially. And,
you don't have to worry about a family, kids,
Just the
and
cats.
so on. Yeah, you have your cats, whatever, and so this is a great time in your life if you're ever going to do this. To you know, 'cause
yeah.
if your lifestyle changed and you had people who were really dependent on your income, you'd feel a lot more restricted. So this is the time if you're going to do it to take the plunge.
Take it.
Yeah. I think they gave great advice and asked good questions and were very supportive of it, which was very nice to have. Connor says, did my mom and dad play board games first, or did Jamey introduce you to them? I've definitely introduced them to many games, but I think,
Yeah.
did you play any games before we were kids?
I played Millborn when I was in high school with a good friend a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's how it was like a connection I had. We would play card games before you guys came along. We would go to visit his parents in Florida. They would teach us a new card game. We'd come up and we'd play card games every night together. We haven't played any card games since, but
And we used to play backgammon and things like that.
oh,
but
Jay actually made me a backgammon game when we had nothing, no money and no tools. He made it out of leather and wood
Oh, wow.
and glued it. We used pennies and dimes for our pieces, and we still have it.
Wow. And my dad is very handy in terms of craftsmanship. And so one of the reasons I'm excited to have him here in town is that I have a list of like 10 things at my house, my condo, or our condo, that I'm excited for him to help me fix up a little bit. Aunt Ann is here. My Aunt Ann is chiming into her first Facebook Live video here, joining us, saying, "Good to see you, Jamey. Glad that you arrived safely, Jay and Margot." Good to see you too, Aunt Ann. Tim has some suggestions for the little kids. Mickey Mouse Yahtzee, My First Castle Panic. That's a cooperative game. Dragomino, My First King Domino. That's a fun. It's like the game Dominoes. It's like a modern version of Dominoes.
They like dominoes. We've tried the Yahtzee, and adding the Yahtzee up, I get them to now use a calculator.
Oh, nice.
To work on that.
Good.
Yeah.
So Kristen says, did you think Jamey would be a game designer, or did he have other aspirations when he was growing up?
Oh yes, you did. You wanted to, I think, travel the world or talk Japanese and live that culture and.
At one point, I wanted to be a Japanese businessman or a businessman.
Oh yeah,
in
that was a
Japan.
Halloween costume. Yeah.
Yeah.
if you can imagine Jamey on Halloween dressing up as a Japanese businessman.
Because I wanted to be a businessman in Japan. I wasn't dressing up as an Asian person. I was
yeah.
Jamey as a businessman in Japan. I also thought about being an architect for a while, but I'm not super detail oriented.
Oh, you would never know that. You're
Yeah.
very detail oriented.
In some ways.
In some
Precise.
areas.
I'm not as precise as I think, and patient as I think you need to be an architect. Yeah. Anything else you can think of that I thought about being when
Vice president.
Right.
Yes.
I don't remember that at all.
Trevor was going to
Oh.
be president, and you were going to be the vice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'll
we
let-
might be better off today. Wouldn't have as many great board games, but
And what was the other one? I like to write fiction, so I thought about being a novelist. I don't know if I ever saw that as a viable career, but maybe I had hopes that it could be someday. For those of you just joining us, yes, these are my parents. They're joining me for Thanksgiving, and you're welcome to ask them anything you want. We'll be here for another, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes. We'll see how it goes. Julie says that she just played viticulture with Mama Margot the other day. My parents
The
are...
same color shirt, I think.
Yeah. Josh says, have they played Rolling Realms? Rolling Realms is no, they haven't played it, but
No.
that is an easy one to teach that I will hopefully show them soon. Christina is here. Christina says, Mr. and Mrs. Stonemeyer, thank you for your service to Chesterfield, Virginia. That's so nice.
That is very nice.
yeah.
my dad, they both have contributed a lot to our county growing up, and my dad was worked his way up through the county government up to run the county for a while, the manager of the county, and my mom was a teacher. Yeah,
Still teaching.
still teaching. Yeah. Daniel says, "What was your first thought?" Oh, we kind of talked about this a second ago. What was your first thought when Jamey started to pursue this venture? And actually, what was your first thought? So we answered when I thought about going full time. What was your first thought when I got into viticulture and wanted to put that on Kickstarter? Do you remember it?
There was, for me, there was a little bit of a fear. I had to, yeah, why not? Because you're going out on your own,
Yeah.
and that's really unusual in our generation for us to have gone out on our own. So there's a little fear, but there was also a realization that the job you currently had wasn't going anywhere, and you needed to do something more life oriented, which you then picked up and did.
Yeah.
And I've always been a big fan of following a passion. And like Jamey said, I worked in government, and in part that was because of being a child of the John Kennedy years and hearing "ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country," and I became very passionate about that. And knowing that Jamey was really passionate about games, it was a little bit scary, but it was also really exciting to watch it happen and to see him go into that. And I'm absolutely convinced that you're much better off trying something like that and failing than not trying it and wishing for the next 40 years that you had tried it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's good man, didn't we?
It looks like David. Thank you, David, for finding that blog post where I posted the letter and maybe the response. I can't remember if the response is there. You can check that in the links here. Zach says, "What theme do you think that Jamey should explore for a future game?"
I'm staying out of it. He's doing such a good job on his own.
Any
Don't need
fictional
my
themes that you
advice
would-
anymore.
Let's see. Jim says that his family also played Millborn growing up. Cody confirmed it's Waterworks is that game that you guys are trying to think of. Ivan says your parents are so young.
Thank you.
Edward says, were your parents your go-to playtesters for your games? How honest were they on feedback? Like when I was a kid designing games, what I thought game design as a kid was you create a board, you write down the rules, and you play it, and you've completed the game. You've completed game design. I've learned there's a lot more that goes into game design at this point. But yeah, they were always there for usually the first and only play of these these games when we were playing. Yeah. Juso says, another question about playtesting. Do you playtest Jamey's games before they get published? They just mentioned earlier that they think they played an early version of Viticulture before it was published.
Oh, from Indonesia.
Greetings from Indonesia, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua says, in a month I'm going to move for the first time from the state in which I grew up and where my parents still live. What advice would you give me, both from Jamey's perspective and his parents? So, and for context here, I grew up in Virginia, where my parents still are, and I moved to St. Louis to go to college here, and I've stayed here ever since. So given that, do you have any advice for Joshua moving out of the place where he's known his whole life for the first time?
Well, what he's going to experience, you need to address.
That's true, yeah. But he might want to hear from his parents' perspective and how parents handle that.
Contact is really important. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that helps me as a parent settle in wherever my children happen to travel or live is to visually see where they're living, see the streets that they live on, not just the building that they live on, visit the grocery store. That sort of settles me as the mother, like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then when we have conversations and you talk about, well, I went to the grocery store, I'm a visual person, and I walk to the grocery store in my mind.
Okay.
I do a lot of that in my mind. So going to Forest Park and seeing Seattle and knowing St. Louis, the other child lives in Seattle, that really helps me settle when you guys are far away.
Yeah. And that's how FaceTime has helped a little bit too, because when we're talking on FaceTime every week, I can show them, and you can't see the background, you can see where I live. Do you have any thoughts about that, Dad?
Yeah, I would say something that really helped me out a lot, and this was earlier on, 20 years ago. But when Jamey went away, and another thing about Jamey that in our relationship is Jamey taught me how to play soccer,
Mm-hmm.
and he introduced me to a pickup game in Richmond when the summer after his first year at Washu, and I'm still playing that game 20 years later. But it always really meant a lot to me when Jamey would come home. We would go back and play soccer together on Sundays at the pickup game, and little things like that, or getting out in the yard and juggling the soccer, doing the things we did when he was in middle school and high school. Doing some of those things together really helped for me to keep up a little bit of a connection there. And then, like Margot said, I think taking time to communicate and be kind of open about what it is you're up to and what you're doing, share that with them. If your parents are like us, which isn't a given, they really care about you and want to know what you're up to and what's going well, what's not going well, whatever.
Yeah, I like that advice. And Joshua, I hope the move goes well. Feel free to chime in about that in the future. I'm happy to offer my perspective on that. Joe says, did I miss any embarrassing stories about Jamey? You missed one. Did any others come to mind while we're chatting?
What did you think was the most embarrassing story we've told so far? Because we've told a lot. What's the one embarrassed you the most?
I don't think you've said anything that's embarrassed me too much yet. Nothing career ruining. Donnie, a fellow Maggie Walker GSGS alum, high school alumni, says, who in the family is the most competitive? So I have parents, I have a younger brother, younger sister. Who do you think is the most competitive?
Oh, Margo.
I'm the most.
I would say in sports growing up, I might say me.
Yeah.
In terms of emotional competitiveness,
What's
I would get really I remember sometimes where we'd be playing against an opposing team, and I would just get really into it, and I wouldn't want you to cheer for a good play for the opposing team, things like that.
Oh, I wasn't allowed to cheer for you at all.
Or cheer for me even.
Period.
But I don't really like that. Looking back, like I wish I could have let my parents cheer for me or cheer for a great play from the opposing team. And as an adult, I kind of moved away from competitive sports for that reason, because I didn't like getting that emotionally tied up in it, that I couldn't respect another good play from the opponent, things like that. Mm-hmm. So it might be me in a bad way. My sister was great at tennis, and both my brother and sister are very good at playing the piano and singing. They're very musical. My brother was an excellent cross-country runner. So he was competitive in that way, but Andrew was so
No, he was never competitive enough.
He was just good at it.
Yeah. And even academically, I don't think you guys ever competed academically. You just were all in your own little spacey worlds. Not spacey, and not spacey, but
right.
You took your own space.
Our own space, yeah.
I mean, one time you and Emily took the very same class with the very same teacher at different time periods, and you responded very differently in that class.
Yeah.
But you didn't seem to be bothered by how one was responding to that teacher over the other one.
Right. Did you have something to say there, Doug?
No, but I was just thinking about that particular teacher. Because we won't go there.
So Zach says, did you ever ask Jamey if he is going to adopt, or if you have some more grandkids for you, or are Walter and Biddy enough for you guys? And just for some context here, I'm not sure if Zach is alluding to this, but I am adopted. My parents adopted me when I was 3 days old. And so I think that might be part of the context that Zach is asking here. But did you ever ask me if I was going to adopt?
Never have asked you. Are you going to adopt? Anything, no. a two-legged person, a two-legged animal versus a four-legged?
Not just kids. I don't plan on having any kids, but I do enjoy Walter and Biddy, and my parents are very nice to Walter and Biddy when they visit.
And for the rest of our grandchildren, every grandchild should have an uncle who loves them and gives them the kind of attention that Jamey does.
I do like being an uncle. I think I enjoy that more than being a parent.
You are really good at it. You're really good at it.
It looks like Allison from the Kidsplaining channel is chiming in. Allison, actually, she and her husband and her kids run a YouTube channel where the kids do the interviewing, and they talk about the games. So they're learning how to kind of interact on
Okay,
camera.
well, Jamie's going to give me that information
Oh, you can share that with nieces
because
and
your
nephews. Yeah.
sister-in-law Margaret will interview like just as a fun game activity for the kids, interview them on a topic
Uh-huh.
for them to randomly talk about.
Yeah.
So that the skill of interviewing is a really good skill to pass down to kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's another adoption question, actually, from Cody. Could my parents tell us about their experience with the adoption process? And you guys are welcome to say as much as you want. I would maybe keep it. Don't go into it too long because we're going to run out of time. But
I
yeah,
would
feel free to share anything you want.
send them to the blog post that you wrote, we
Yeah.
wrote, and your birth mother wrote.
Yeah, Cody,
That would
yeah.
say it all.
Yeah, so I guess a very short version of it is that my parents adopted me from a young mother who wanted to find a good family for me, and in college, when was it?
She was out of state at a place where you could do private adoptions, and
Right.
she had a so it was a private adoption. She was very involved in the counselor that was working with her, and the counselor that was working with her knew us, and that's sort of how it transpired. That's I can't say we applied for adoption. Jamey was literally a gift handed to us, and we've been ever so grateful.
Yeah.
And there's more. If you go to jamiestegmeyer.com, there's more information about that there, telling my parents' side of the story, my side, not our sides, but our perspectives, as well as my birth mother, who I'm in occasional contact with, and she shared her story of what that was like. Ivan says, what kind of games do you prefer to play together, competitive or cooperative? We played both. I do enjoy playing the mind and just one with you guys.
And I never mind losing.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Everybody, there has to be a loser in a group, and I'm okay taking that role.
Connor wants to see the custom backgammon set that my dad made a long time
I
ago.
think
Okay,
we
we'll
need to
send us some
we need to
photos.
give you that one.
Yeah, I want to see that. Let's see. Skylar says, "Is there a new game? Is there a new game you will teach your parents during this visit?"
Yeah, I want to know that one.
Yeah, I have been thinking about. I do want to play Wingspan with a new expansion. There is a game called Mysterium Park, which is a cooperative game that I want to show them. I'm looking at my collection over here to see if there's anything else that jumps out. I thought about maybe The Crew because they know trick taking a little bit. Yeah, those are the main.
That's a
there's
lot
some-
of games. We got to get
Yeah.
going.
I will look for games that are very easy to teach, and that games that maybe, like my mom said, that we can play maybe a few days in a row in short sessions so they can
Really learn.
really learn them, over the course of several sessions. Chad says, this is an interesting question. For sports or games, did you let Jamey win games when he was a kid, or did you crush him?
I don't think either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when he was really young, we would let him win at little things. And then there's a little bit of a story there. So then later on, he gets older and older and he gets better and better, and then it starts getting more competitive. And we would go out and, play one-on-one basketball, and Jamey used to take shots at me. I would play the goalie and he would...
It's soccer.
Yeah, in soccer. And I remember the time when he was in high school, and he said, "Dad, I'm getting pretty good at this. I'm afraid I might hurt you."
Yeah.
My dad was a very good tennis player, though. So we when I grew up playing tennis too, did you let me win? I'm sure you didn't go all out every time we played, but he played a good game of tennis. Like as soon as I could keep up, he did not let me win.
I would say, because watching what we do with the grandkids, that we would not overtly let you win.
Yeah.
Keep it competitive, but might help you with strategies so that you would win on your own. It wouldn't be like we would let your stupid move make the case.
Right.
We'd say, well, maybe you should try that move.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might want to rethink that before you.
Yeah. Richard says, "Happy Thanksgiving. What is your favorite Thanksgiving desserts?"
Pecan pie.
Pecan pie. You choose that over pumpkin pie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll eat pumpkin pie all through October.
Okay.
So I'd only eat like a pecan pie at Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I still like pumpkin pie.
Micah has a Stonemeyer question. Any update on the Stonemeyer Champion T-shirts? I think they are coming any day now. We're just waiting to get them to the fulfillment center. But they might have already been sent, Micah. Um, that's a good question for Joe. Joe has handled that process.
There was a question before, or there was a
Did I miss
comment
one?
about Midlothian Trojans.
Oh,
Just want to,
Grace says, "Go
yeah.
Midlothian Trojans." That's
Okay.
a local high school in
Okay.
our area. And
Just
middle
wanted
school,
to
middle school.
recognize that too.
Let's see if there's any other questions. Carol
How did you
says,
decide to come to Washu?
yeah, how did you find WashU and then decide to go there when you lived in Virginia? It was literally, I had never heard of WashU, but I got a brochure from them. I believe, this is my recollection. I think I got a brochure from them that I thought was, okay, this is a beautiful campus. And at the time, I was very focused on going to schools with a really good Japanese language program. And there weren't a lot of schools with that. And so that kind of narrowed down the search quite a bit. And WashU, which I think I found through the brochure, maybe it was through Japanese first, was definitely on that list. They have a fantastic Japanese program at WashU. Do you remember anything else about that process that I'm forgetting?
Yeah, so there's a.
Well, he
I have a
didn't.
personal story on that process also.
We'll come back.
Okay.
This is.
Oh, you're talking
I
about
applied to
finances.
3 colleges when I went to school, and I wanted to study engineering, and WashU was one of them.
Oh, really?
And my parents had said, well, if you can get a scholarship, you can go to WashU. I didn't get a scholarship, so I ended up going someplace where I did get a scholarship. But anyway, Jamey got the scholarship.
Yeah. Yeah, and you applied to the school without ever having seen the school.
Yeah.
And yes, and then he had to we did not come with you to see the school.
Right. Yeah, I came with friend Joe, I think. Joe applied there too.
Yeah.
And actually, I learned doing that it is so important to go to college to check it out because on the brochures, every college is beautiful. They take the most beautiful photo of the campus and they put it on the brochures. But not every college campus is actually beautiful and wonderful to walk through. And WashU's is.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And WashU had some other, I remember Jamey applied to a number of good schools, and most of them were like, you should be honored that we let you in. And WashU, it was like going to Disney World. I mean, as a parent, they treated me like a customer. And they were the only school of all the schools my kids ever applied to that did that.
Really?
It was very remarkable.
Joshua says, I need to see the Dragon's Tomb video, How to Play Wingspan, that was just posted. Have I seen that channel? I haven't. I'm familiar with the Dragon's Tomb. We may have even sent them that copy. But feel free to post a link here, Joshua, and I'll check that out and put it on our website.
Okay, so I think Josh wants us to leave. That's okay. Oh, there's somebody else we know.
You see someone else? Oh, Sharon, kind of Aunt Sharon. She says, so great to see you all and hear some stories. If only I could get someone to play Codenames with me. Maybe in the beach for 2020. Yeah, I brought
we
Codenames.
have played Codenames
You played
before.
Codenames?
Yes, yes. And that family has, pre-COVID, did monthly game nights.
Oh, that's
as a
right.
family.
Yeah. And Sharon, there is actually a way to play Codenames online that I can show you sometime if you'd like. Tim says, any possible dual versions of your games that are maybe a quicker setup? I really like how Mysterium Park cuts down the time it takes you to play. So dual games are like where you take a 6-player game and then there's a 2-player version of it that's a lot simpler. I don't have any plans for that, Tim, but yeah, because we typically publish games that scale up to at least 5 or 6 players. But maybe in the future we'll try that. Let's see if we have a few more questions and then we'll sign off. This is longer than I asked my parents to stay on here. Richard says, did you guys have any funny moments at Thanksgiving? Well, we haven't had Thanksgiving yet, Richard. But can you remember any stories from
past?
Thanksgiving from the past?
Nothing that comes to mind right away.
Cody says, what subject did my mom teach?
I've taught anything from 1st grade to 5th grade gifted to children with autism and currently teaching or supporting a 2nd grader in virtual school.
Yeah. George also asked about, was Jamey a competitive person? We talked about that a little while ago, George. I would say
Quietly so.
maybe quietly competitive, sometimes emotionally competitive when I was going through puberty, playing sports. Daniel says, how often did Jamey get discouraged when he was younger? If so, how did you approach boosting his confidence? That's an interesting question.
That is an interesting question. I'll have to think
Yeah.
about that.
I don't remember seeing that.
I don't remember really feeling like I had to boost your confidence.
I recall there were a few times in school where school, especially in elementary school and middle school, was fairly easy for me for a long time. But every once in a while, I got bumped to a gifted program at a certain point, and suddenly it was a little bit harder, and I wasn't ready for that adjustment. So there were a few times where my mom really helped out, where I just needed to take that extra step and actually work a little bit harder than I had in the past. There was that step, and there was with Japanese, when I was learning Japanese, learning the alphabet with Japanese. My mom helped me out with flashcards with all the different.
Only one
symbol.
time. You
Yeah,
only
one time.
asked me once.
Richard says, "How did your parents meet?"
Oh, college.
Yes. We met at freshman orientation
Really?
at college.
Catholic U.
And Margot refused to go out with me.
Let's see if there are any more questions as we wrap up here today. Ivan's recommending the game called Paleo. I am intrigued by Paleo, Ivan. That game looks really, really cool. Another
That sounds
cooperative
good.
game.
Yeah. Sharon needs to see the online code game.
Yeah, Allison mentions the online version of Codenames here as well. Josh links that video that he was talking about. I'll put that on our website. And I think that wraps up the questions. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for joining me. Yeah. Have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy a great week. And I will be back next week as usual at the same time.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.